Hello friends, so welcome back to my channel. So today in this video we are going to learn about nervous system. The nervous system is made up of brain, spinal cord and a huge network of nerves. Here the huge network of nerves means that there is a huge connectivity, means that there are so many nerves in our body which are coming inside the nervous system. It is the main control center of our body. It is the main control center of our body. The nervous system is divided into two parts. There are two parts of nervous system which are central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay, let's move on to our next slide and we will learn more about the both types of the nervous system. So first let's move on to central nervous system. So in the slide, parts of central nervous system we are going to learn. So they are brain and spinal cord. So the parts of central nervous system include the brain and the spinal cord. So let's learn more about brain and spinal cord. There are three parts again of the brain, which are cerebellum, medulla oblongata and cerebellum. Medulla oblongata is also known as brainstem. So let's learn more about these three parts also. So first it is cerebellum. It is the largest part of the brain. So our brain has one largest part which is cerebellum. Areas within the cerebellum control muscle functions and also control speech, thought, emotions, reading, writing and learning. So it is like it controls few things which are like speech, thought, emotions, etc. So let's move on to our next slide. Here in the slide cerebellum, we are going to learn about cerebellum. It is smaller than cerebellum. So cerebellum is smaller than cerebellum. The cerebellum is a structure that is located at the back of the brain. So the cerebellum is located in the back of the brain. So we have front, side and back directions, and cerebellum is located in one of them, which is the back of the brain. It contains over 50% of the total number of neurons in the brain. So we have some quantity of neurons in our body. Let's take it as 100% only. About from 100%, 50% of neurons are connected with the cerebellum. The cerebellum receives information from the sensory systems. So we have few types of one system is there like sensory system, which have sense organs only. So the cerebellum receives notification from them. The cerebellum controls our movement, balance and also coordination. So these both are voluntary movement. We can think, we can choose the movement by our will, that I want to move front, move left or right, and also coordination my brain coordinates, here cerebellum coordinates with my hand. So if my hand wants to move left to pick something, so cerebellum gives coordinate with the muscle of hand and our hand moves. So this was the function of cerebellum. Let's move on to our next slide. Medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is also known as brainstem. As you know, I told in the first slide that medulla oblongata is also known as brainstem. The medulla oblongata or simply medulla is a long stem-like structure. So we can even say as medulla oblongata full name, or medulla, or also brainstem we can also say. So in the brain, where it is located, or how it is located, it is like a structure, a long stem structure. The medulla oblongata is the lower half of the brain stem. So as I told you, it is also known as with both the names. But both the names are same stem-like structure, but that is also divided into two parts. The lower half is brainstem and the upper half is the medulla oblongata. It plays essential role in passing messages between your spinal cord and brain. So as you know that spinal cord is down and brain is up, in between both of them there is the medulla oblongata. So it plays an essential role in passages between your spinal cord and brain. So it is like sometimes the action goes to spinal cord, or sometimes the action can go also to the brain. If the action is not controllable by the spinal cord, the action goes to the brain using the medulla oblongata. So move on to our next slide. In this slide, it was a function of medulla oblongata we learned. So in this slide, what are the parts of peripheral nervous system? Are the nerves, or we can also say nerves as neurons. So I told you parts of central nervous system, which are brain, spinal cord, and now parts of the peripheral nervous system, which are nerves or neurons. So let's move on to our next slide. So first, now I will tell you what is a neuron. Neuron or a nerve. The neuron system, the nervous system consists of nerves which are made up of cells that carry messages throughout our body. These cells are called neuron. So in the nervous system, the main part is the nerves only, as it carry like impulses or signals, messages throughout our body. Cells and these are made up of cells. So they are basic structure and functional unit of the nervous system. So these are basic structure and functional unit of the nervous system. Messages travel along the neurons as electrical signals, which are called impulses. As you know, in this sentence I have used the word impulses. Impulses are the electrical signals. So let's move on to our next slide. Let's now first we will learn about parts of nerves. So here you can see like any leaves. You can take it as leaves or like some part of tree. So these are dendrites. And then here first before going to this, this part of the nerves is cell body. Inside the cell body there is the nucleus, and the stem like structure in the nerve is called axon. And then after axon we even see like dendrites only. So these are the dendrites of next neuron. So as you know, like impulse come on this dendrite and then go from axon, and then this axon does not connect directly to the brain or the spinal cord. So we need more nerves attached, which the last nerve should be attached to the brain or the spinal cord. But this nerve is not directly going, then there are more connecting nerves behind. So these are the dendrites of next neuron, and so on. One more nerve will continue. So let's move on to the next slide. So let's learn about the parts of nerves. We know the parts of nerves, so let's learn about them. First, we will start with cell body. Cell body is also known as cytosol. We can also say a cell body, as cell body is also known with another name, which is cytosol. It contains the muscle, nucleus and other cell structure. It contains the nucleus. So nucleus I have showed you. It is in yellow in color. Not only in yellow color, it can be any type of color in our body. So it is located in the center of the cell body and other cell structures. So the basic parts of the cell body is only nucleus, and then forward is the dendrites. So here, as in a real type of cell, there are many small things also. So those we can call as cell structures. So let's move on to our next slide. Dendrites. Neuron fibers that carry impulses or signals to the cell body. So dendrites, signals come, and then that brings the signal to the cell body, and then cell body take it to axon, axon take it to the next neuron or the nerve. So this was the function of dendrite. So let's move on to the next slide. Next slide is axon. Carry signals away from the cell body. As I told you, cell body is like somewhere you can locate is at left. After the cell body, axon comes. The axon takes the signal, not brings the signal to the cell body. Bringing signals to the cell body is the function of dendrite, but the function of axon is to carry away the signals. It takes away the signals to the next neuron from the cell body. So let's move on to our next. So in this slide I will tell you about the types of nerves. So first we have learned the parts of nerves. In this slide we will learn about types of nerves. There are again 3 types of nerves. They are efferent or sensory neuron, and then efferent or motor neuron. The difference between the first efferent and second efferent is the first efferent starts with A and then second efferent starts with E. So we should learn like this: efferent or sensory neuron, efferent or motor neuron, and the last is mixed neuron. Okay, let's move on to our next slide. In this slide we will like I have told you again the types of nerves or neurons, and now I will explain them. So first we will take it as efferent or sensory neuron. They are also called as receptors. Efferent or sensory neuron. They are 2 different names. Efferent can be also called as sensory neuron, and they can also be called as receptor, because receptor is again one of the name for sensory neuron, as they carry impulses from sense organs to the brain or the spinal cord. So here the meaning of or is it based on the action. If the action is controlled by the spinal cord will control it and give some response, or else the action will go to brain. If brain can control it, it will give a response. So this was efferent or sensory neuron. Let's move on to our next slide. Efferent or motor neuron. They carry impulses from brain or spinal cord to the muscle or glands. So it is like vice versa. In efferent or sensory neuron, it was like signals are carried from the sense organs to the brain or spinal cord. But here, the signals are carried from the brain or spinal cord to the muscles or glands. So this was efferent or motor neuron. Let's move on to our next. Mixed neuron. They perform the function of both sensory neuron and motor neuron. So mixed neuron, as it is only saying that it is mixed. It can perform the functions of both efferent or sensory neuron and efferent and motor neuron. They are also called as interneuron. Mixed neuron can be also called as interneuron and relay neuron. So again here we have 3 names for mixed neuron also, as they join sensory and motor neurons. So some places it is like we have in one side, on the right side we have sensory neuron and other side we have motor neuron. So in between there is a mixed neuron. So let's move on. In this slide, we will recap the parts of nervous system. So first, nervous system is divided into 2 parts, which are central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So then central nervous is divided again in 2 parts, which are brain and spinal cord. And peripheral nervous system is again divided into 1 part, which is neuron. Brain is divided into 3 parts: cerebellum, medulla oblongata. And then neuron is divided into 3 parts again, which are sensory neuron, mixed neuron and motor neuron. So this was my today's video. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. My subscribers are not increasing. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and also share my channel to your relatives and your friends. Bye.